Hello everyone, welcome to today's class, and the title today is Rice Restrictions. Let's move on to language focus. 일본. These countries will look to alternative suppliers such as Vietnam, but this is bound to push up prices. Okay, so as you can see, today we will focus on is bound to. So we use is bound to express strong belief or certainty that something will happen. 아마 할 것 같아요. Almost sure. 정확히 할 거예요. I'm almost sure that it will happen. So like we could say like bound to maybe 마련이다. So bound to. Highlight that. Okay, so if we look at our example here, Ivan is bound to be disappointed when he finds out Santa Claus isn't real, but he's 24 and it's time to tell him. So 아이브는 산타클로스가 진짜가 아니라는 것을 알게 되면 실망하게 될 것 같습니다. 하지만 아이브는 24살이고 이제는 그에게 말해야 할 때문입니다. So, 당연하죠. 아이븐이 산타클로스가 진짜가 아니라는 것을 알게 되면 실망하게 될 것 같아요. But yes, he is 24. So good for him, but yes, he's bound to be. It's a strong belief that something will happen. More than likely, Ivan will be disappointed. Okay, or there are bound to be times when the stock market goes down. 증시가 하락할 때가 있기 마련이다. So the stock market is constantly fluctuating. And there are many times where it goes down and there are many times when it succeeds. However, it's bound to go down. It's most likely going to happen. Let's look at 이번 now. 이번. Alas, there are not normal times. These are not normal times. Alas. Now this is an interesting word because I don't think many people use it these days. However, you will hear it from time to time. So we use this word to express that some fact is unfortunate. So some fact is unfortunate. Now, there is a word that I looked up and it does come out as more of an interjection, all right? So I don't know if Koreans use this as much. I've never heard many Koreans use this, but I did find that it kind of does mean like like ice americano, but it's kind of strange, right? But this is what I found, so therefore we're going to go along with it, but I wouldn't say it's a very commonly used word here in English anymore. A long time ago, it's like Old English, if anything. So, alas, things didn't go the way Volodya had hoped. It's like, the expression, 일이 볼로디아가 바라던 대로 되지 않았다. So, it didn't go the way that Volodya wanted. Or, alas, there are times in life when we have no choice but to say goodbye to people. 인생에는 사람들에게 작별 인사를 할 수밖에 없는 때가 있어요. Sometimes it's hard to say goodbye, but sometimes it's unavoidable. So like I said, this word alas isn't exactly a commonly used word in the younger generation. However, you will probably hear a lot of the older generation, or maybe even in movies or plays, use this word. Alright, now let's move on to the language focus quiz. So, 1번. In my opinion, is bound to get in trouble. So remember, bound to, 마련이다. When I talked about it before, the examples were Ivan is bound to be disappointed when he finds out Santa Claus isn't real. Ivan은 Santa Claus가 진짜가 아니라는 것을 알고 되면 실망하게 될 것 같습니다. Of course. Alright, so what am I going to say? In my opinion, let's say the government is bound to get in trouble. 내 생각에는 정부가 권리해질 수밖에 없다. But in this situation, I think that because the government is really bad, they are bound to get in trouble. It's more than likely it's going to happen. 2번. Thinks that is bound to So first, we need, let's say a person. Let's call this person, well, let's say she, thinks that, what does she think that? Jack is bound to be, let's say, a successful businessman. So, 그녀는 짝이 반드시 성공한 사업가라고 생각한다. She thinks it's more than likely it's going to happen. Jack is a very intelligent person and a very successful student, therefore he might be a very successful businessman. 3번. Alas, didn't work out quite as expected. Let's just keep it simple. The plan. Alas, the plan didn't work out quite as expected. 그 계획은 기대했던 대로 잘 진행되지 않았다. Alas, the plan didn't work out quite as expected. 4번. Alas, there is no way to, say, fix the problem. 이 문제를 해결할 방법은 없습니다. Okay, now remember, like I mentioned, alas isn't something that you may hear on a daily situation. However, with the older generation, you might. So, now let's move on to further discussion. 1번. Do you think India has a moral obligation to continue sending rice to countries like Bangladesh, Nepal? Why or why not? 여러분은 인도가 뱅글라데시와 네팔과 같은 나라에 쌀을 계속 보내야 할 도덕적인 의무가 있다고 생각하나요? 왜 그렇지 않아요? 왜 혹은 그렇지 않아요? Okay, so depends obviously on the relationship between India and Bangladesh and Nepal. Obviously, if they are a country of constant exporting and importing, then of course those two countries should be continuously giving each other, the import and exports that they usually trade in. However, is there an obligation? Well, if they decide not to do it, then Bangladesh and Nepal, whatever exports they don't have the obligation or to give it to India. A moral obligation still can be broken because, as an example, if there was a moral obligation between doing something for someone else, but it might affect me or my family, of course I'm going to have to break that moral obligation. 2번. Do you think India's rice ban will be felt in South Korea? Give reasons. 당신은 인도의 살 금지가 한국에서도 받아들여질 것이라고 생각하는가요? Maybe for a lot of the Indian restaurants, it might have a very big impact. Therefore, Indian restaurants might have to look towards other resources. As far as maybe affecting Korea itself, I would say that it would have a very minimal impact as we grow our own rice here. Though, we don't really rely on India's rice very much, apart from when we do Indian cooking. A lot of Indian rice is not really suited for Korean food as well. So I think before maybe we look towards India as a helpful resource of rice, we'd probably look in other countries such as Japan or China. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, what do you think? And I will see you on the next lesson.
Staple.
Staple.
Ban.
Ban.
Harvest.
Harvest.
Domino effect.
Domino effect.
Frustratingly.
Frustratingly.
Imperative.
Imperative.